Manchester United are 16th. They lost the Europa League to 17th place Tottenham Hotspur. We will not be in Europe at all next season. 2 years without Champions League football means we have to pay a penalty fine to Adidas. The finances are at an all-time low, and there's one solution for this. Glazers out. Get the Glazers out now, and Ineos can follow them. I said I'd give Ineos 3 years. They need at least 3 years to turn around the mess that the Glazers made. And Ineos are going to have to make a lot of unpopular decisions, and a lot of decisions we're not going to like, because they're going to have to undo the mess the Glazers made, and it's going to get ugly before it gets good. But I think Ineos are out of their depth. The Glazers most definitely must go. Ineos are out of their depth. And I think they have no choice to leave before it's too late. I think they are killing Manchester United. There's more cuts. There's more talk about what's going on behind the scenes, the finances, the ownership, the money lost. We're going to have a serious talk about that. There's more leaks going on. There's some transfer news. There's some other news stories. I mean, this is your 10-minute roundup video, and it's really weird because I'm going to be going on a rant about the Glazers to then being talking about who Amorim wants in midfield and the wing-backs situation and our striker targets. But yeah, look, hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to your Manchester United 10-minute video news roundup. I apologise I'm not live today. I just have way too much to do, but I will probably go live 5:30 tonight. I'm going to assume, depending on the stories. So let's start with this from Craig Hope. Manchester United have started informing staff of job losses. Announcements came just hours after the 1-0 defeat to Tottenham in the Europa League final. Part of Ineos-led cost-cutting and restructuring measures, sources inside the club are surprised by the timing, calling it abrupt, indicates United's urgency to implement savings and streamline operations. Look, there's two ways of thinking about this. You know, we're in a financial crisis. The Glazers were idiots and employed too many people. More people have got to go. And unfortunately, the hard-working people at the bottom of the club have to pay the price. Yes, that's partly true. But there's also just having a bit of morals, having a bit of respect, you know, saying it's sad we're going to let you go, but maybe just wait a couple of days after the Europa League final, not within hours. You know, I think there could be anywhere between 400 to 700 redundancies at Manchester United in the last year. And yes, Ineos have to do that. The fact that Ineos have to do that shows how badly the Glazers run this club by having too many staff in the first place. But when you've made that many redundancies, why are Ineos then doing things like cancelling the Christmas party, refusing to pay for some of the staff to go and watch the final, refusing to give this to the staff, cancelling the Christmas bonus? If you're going to get rid of so many employees and the mood at the club's going to be so bad and the redundancies at the club are so bad, at least throw them a banging Christmas party. At least give them a banging bonus for what they've been through. No, we've lost the Europa League final. By the way, you're going to go tomorrow. You know, I know you're sad about losing the Europa League final, but you're also going to go tomorrow. You're going to lose your job. There you go. Honestly. And I was thinking this now because it was been reported by the Telegraph that Manchester United is set to axe 200 jobs today. Some staff already know they're going, while others are waiting to discover their fate. I mean, I would not feel settled as an employee at Man United. If I was an employee at Man United, I'd be looking for another job. I seriously would be. And I have the question, serious question, how many employees do Ineos have? Because we know in July there was 250 to 300 redundancies reported in July. We obviously know many top executives left. There's maybe like 30 different executives or leaders in some place that left. There was 80 scouts that left, apparently, or was going to leave. And in February, it was reported that there was going to be 200 further redundancies. It's now being reported that we're going to axe up to 200 jobs today. So either the 200 jobs we're axing is the ones that we planned in February, or we've just axed 400 jobs in the last 3 months. We're looking at least 650 people going, potentially 700 in a year, maybe 500 if the 200 redundancies reported in February are actually just being followed through now. But anywhere between 500 and 750 jobs. Like, how many staff is left? Because, look, you could say, look, at the end of the day, the Glazers run this club so badly, we had so many employees we didn't need, and Ineos have got to let them go. Which I get, Ineos have to do that. It's a business decision. But you let all the staff go, you then go and spend this much money getting this manager in and this much money getting Ashworth in to sack Ashworth 5 months later. It's not a good look. And when you are making so many redundancies, and when the mood at Man United is so negative, show the staff that are there, you appreciate them. Throw them a Christmas party. Don't cancel their Christmas party. Don't cancel any little luxury they have. Don't cancel their Christmas bonus. Don't cancel this. Don't cancel that. like, make sure your staff are happy, because if the staff are unhappy at the club, it spreads up the club. If the staff are unhappy, well, the staff have got to look after the players, and that's not an environment you want the players in. And we're talking about getting toxicity out of this club. And on top of things, again, Glazers are the biggest problem. We've got to have some question marks over Ineos. So far, 1 year of Ineos, it's a 0 out of 10 because we're 16th and not in Europe. Our worst season ever. We could have got relegated. This Amorim decision to bring him in mid-season and assist him come in mid-season didn't pay off. It didn't pay off one bit. I'm not saying that Amorim won't be successful. With a good summer, Amorim could be very successful. And in 2 years' time, we could win the league and we could be ecstatic. But I don't feel like that's going to happen anytime soon. To bring Amorim in mid-season, to spend that money to bring him in mid-season and Satanog to finish 16th, it didn't pay off. And then you've got Samuel Luckhurst saying things like this. And you know it's bad when I'm agreeing with Samuel Luckhurst. 2 years after the Ineos delegation visited Old Trafford, nobody has given a satisfactory explanation for Braillesford's presence on the United football board. Braillesford has admitted he is no expert in football. You can see that from United's results since he started to have impact on their performance. What does Braillesford do? Can somebody in the chat tell me what Braillesford does? Is he Jim Ratcliffe's boyfriend? Is that it? What does he do? I know what he does with cycling. I know what he's done with other things. But with football, with Manchester United, what does he do? Maybe I'm being negative. Maybe I'm being reactionary. But the state of this club, you've not seen me react like this. You've not seen me angry like this. The best way to fix Manchester United is having an owner that's going to come in, that's going to invest a load of money in this club, has got a load of money to invest in this club, and the Glazers out. Ineos, I think they should walk, but the Glazers have to go. The Glazers have done nothing for this club. They put $1 billion debt on this club. The reason it's so bad under Ineos is because they are picking up the pieces from the Glazers, let's be honest. But they haven't impressed me, Ineos, either. They've made bad decisions. The Glazers need to go. I saw people calling Jim Ratcliffe the posh Mike Ashley with the cost cutting. Jim Ratcliffe has invested his money in Man United. He hasn't put debt on Man United. So Jim Ratcliffe is definitely 5 levels above the Glazers. But I could name some awful people in society that are 5 levels above the Glazers. But I just think the ownership needs to go. I mean, look how unhappy the club is. Look at this. Hundreds of Manchester United employees watched the Europa League final at Staff Screening Centre in the Manchester City Centre. When Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Avram Glazer appeared on screens at the then, boos rang out. Boos. All your employers are booing them. The staff are not happy. If the staff are not happy, that will spread up the club. And you wonder why the players are unhappy. You wonder why the mood is so foul. You wonder why the top is so toxic. Start from the bottom. Start. I think they've got no choice. I think they have to leave. I've had enough. I mean, I've always had enough, but I think they have to leave. 16th in the Premier League. Worst finish in our Premier League history. We lose the Europa League final to 17th place Tottenham without their 3 best midfielders, who didn't have a single shot in the second half. 24% possession. We still couldn't beat the worst Tottenham side ever. 20 million spent on sacking Dan Ashworth and Eric Ten Hag and bringing Ruben Amorim in. And we still don't know what the direction is. We're talking about having a game plan, and we're bringing in players for that game plan, and we're going to get a manager in that's going to get the best out of those players. But Ruben Amorim is saying he's going to do what he wants to do. So where's Ineos' game plan? Because Ruben Amorim is just going to do what he wants to do. Whereas you're saying we have a game plan so that any manager that comes in is going to play a certain way with these players. Well, Ruben Amorim's playing his way. So where's this game plan? Where's this game model that Ineos plan to build around? Because if you sack Amorim and you get a manager in that plays a 4-3-3 and you've brought all these players for Amorim, you'll be saying, you've been saying that you're going to buy for a certain game model and he's going to be a head coach, not a manager. Well, that's not happening. Could be over 650 redundancies. There's no UCL football. The financial blow of that, the Ineos penalty clause, not the Ineos, the Adidas penalty clause, the cost cutting, that had to be done, but some of the decisions are rash. So, I think they did some cost cutting to certain charities and stuff like that. And the Man United Foundation, some of the cuts are rash. Again, some of the cost cutting reports will be exaggerated, but there's been accusations of them cutting funding to things that will just save them 40 grand. The 40, that doesn't even pay a day of Casemiro's wages. So I don't know what you're on about there. Also, the fact that we've got $1 billion in debt. The Glazers have cost this club over £1 billion, and they've not put £1 in. The Glazers haven't even got £1 out of their pocket. I bet you if the Glazers were in the canteen and they had to pay £1 for a bottle of water in the canteen, They wouldn't do it. They just take the bottle of water and go. And while they're the owners, they can do that. All I'm saying is, I don't think they've even given 1 penny. 1 penny to this club. To this club. You know? Braillesford even said he's no expert in football, so why is he running the club? You know, there's more failed rebuilds. We're in our 50 millionth rebuild, it feels like. And the fan base is demoralised. I mean, if I didn't do YouTube videos, I probably wouldn't have watched a lot of our last few games in the Premier League. I didn't watch the West Ham game, to be honest. I'm fed up. We've not won a Premier League game in 3 months. We've got leaks going on and around the club that players aren't happy with Ruben Amorim and his system and think he should have adapted his system in the final. We've got stories coming out about the perfect midfielder that, you know, Amorim wants a midfielder with energy, mobility, speed, athleticism. We lack that. And because I've ranted for 10 minutes, the stories that I said I would get into at the beginning of the video, I'm probably just going to cover in my live stream tonight because I don't want this video to be too long. But there's stories about the perfect midfielder for Amorim and all of that. There's talk about, you know, should we get a wing back in? Maguire's better at centre back. I think we should get like Amorim because Dorgu can play left wing back, right wing back. Man United need a wing back. There's talk about Mateta. There's talk about Gyökeres from Tanzania. That's a good source that United want them both. There's still a bit of transfer news to get into, but I just needed a bit of a rant about the ownership. And I want your thoughts down below. I'm intrigued to know how you guys feel and think. But I will be live later with some transfer news, some updates, some stories and more. Thank you for watching. Bye.